from Chicago and the Philippines. A comprehensive review of the week's special community events, featuring many exciting personalities, handled by the most professional Chicago Philippine Reports TV staff.
Good afternoon and welcome to Chicago Philippine Reports TV, still the #1 in all the Filipino shows in the Midwest. And I'm Joe Mauricio. Today we have all the top stories from Chicago and the Philippines. We also have our segment host, Veronica, interesting interviews with Melody Rabor Dizon, our Health Matters host, and Joe Mauricio, myself. And I would like to introduce to you Janet Jordy, our new host from Milwaukee, Wisconsin, introducing her Global Inspirations interviews. We also have happening within our own Filipino community here in Chicago. All these are coming up and more from our sponsors. Please stay with us.
Hi, I'm Maria Pappas, Cook County Treasurer. Property taxes are due March 2nd, but there's no late fee through May 3rd. Go to cookcountytreasurer.com, put in your street address to pay online, search for $76 million in double payments and $46 million in missing exemptions. See if your property is on the tax sale delinquency list. Put in your address at cookcountytreasurer.com.
Emergency room nurse Sherwin Aquino is among the employees of the Lung Center of the Philippines who registered to get a COVID-19 vaccine. Aquino admits he was initially hesitant.
Sa social media, di ba, yung mga bansa na una naka-receive ng mga vaccine, regardless kung ano man brand yan, is talaga may side effect, no? Pero dito sa amin, nung nabalitaan namin na darating na nga yung vaccine, no, yung pamunuan ng Lung Center of the Philippines is talaga nag-prepare.
He says fellow employees also had a change of heart after learning the vaccine brand expected to arrive at the hospital. The government previously announced that the initial batch of Pfizer vaccines from the COVAX facility will go to workers in COVID referral hospitals. The Lung Center says the number of workers who are still reluctant to get a shot has dropped to around 10%. At the East Avenue Medical Center, another priority hospital for COVID vaccines, around 80% are willing to be immunized. The hospitals have ramped up their information campaign to address concerns over the vaccines.
There is no intervention, no treatment without any risk at all. Now, it's a matter of evaluating the benefits from the risk. Kung ganyan ang benefit mo, ganyan ang risk mo, go tayo. Pero kung ganito ang benefit mo, ganyan yung risk mo, kami pa unang aatras. But given the information and the data we have so far and the scenario of the pandemic, syempre go tayo dyan.
Designated vaccinators also continue to train. The Lung Center plans to inoculate 240 to 250 workers a day and complete the process in 5 days. For the East Avenue Medical Center, it wants a gradual vaccine rollout.
Kasi natatakot kami na baka biglang sabay-sabay maglabasan yung adverse effects. Pag ganun kasi, una, mapipila yung mga offices and departments namin and clinical areas na minamandohan nito. Slowly, we can increase at ang final target namin is maybe 100 to 150 in a day.
The question is, when will the initial batch of COVID vaccines from the World Health Organization's COVAX facility arrive? Vaccine czar Carlito Galvez Jr. says this month, but with a slight delay.
The promise of the WHO before is a second week, but considering that we still have some documents to be completed before its arrival, medyo madidelay po na mag-slide down po tayo ng other week. Because dalawa pong vaccine ang pwede po dyan, yung AstraZeneca at saka yung Pfizer. But AstraZeneca is also dependent on WHO emergency utilization. So basically, sir, yung delay is not on us, but also the requirement of the WHO.
In the meantime, Malacanang says China has donated 600,000 doses of COVID vaccine from Sinovac. Of this figure, 100,000 doses will be for military personnel.
Ang bakuna po na Sinovac na galing naman po sa China nakaukit na po sa bato ang pagdating. Ito po ay ang 23 ng Pebrero. Alam niyo po,
Roque assures the public it will not have an effect on the ongoing territorial dispute in the West Philippine Sea. But Galvez notes Sinovac vaccines cannot be brought to the Philippines until it gets emergency use authorization from the Food and Drug Administration.
Many meat vendors are struggling to comply with the government-mandated price ceiling on pork and chicken products. They say the price cap can barely cover their capital and expenses. Ricardo Chan, president of the Manila Meat Dealer Association, says some pork sellers are taking advantage of the situation. Chan recounts a recent transaction where he ended up being charged more than the agreed price.
Wag naman kaming meat dealer na pinipilit naming mapababa ang baboy na pagkuha sa inyo dahil po may price ceiling po kami. Ganyan po ang gagawin nyo sa amin. Pagdating namin dito, binabago nyo ang presyo. Taong bayan po ang apektado rito eh.
Pero dahil sinulot po at tinaasan pa nila ang 5. So paano po ngayon bababa ang presyo ng baboy kung may mga biyahero at ahente na nanunulot ng presyo?
Malakas ang loob nilang manulot, kaya nilang magtaas ng presyo.
Chan notes he looks for small backyard hog raisers to get cheaper live hogs. Chan notes meat dealers have other costs that need to be covered, including transportation and salaries of staff. When goods are turned over to vendors, they too are weighed down by various expenses.
Paano po yung pasahod po sa mga tao at yung mga expenses po? Hindi nakakayanin.
Some vendors are blaming meat dealers for high pork prices, but Chan points to hog raisers, who in turn say they can't lower farm grade prices because they also have to recover their capital.
Ilagay nila sa 150 ang presyo ng farm gate price. Hindi natataas yan. Kasi mali ang ginawa eh. Yung mga market vendor ang binigyan ng price ceiling eh. Dapat yung mga farm.
Puhunan ng sabi, inaabot ng 5,000 ang isa. Gagastosan pa ninyo ng pagkain. 4 na sako mahigit, meron nakakalima. Di 5,000, magiging 10,000 yun. Mahigit, wala pa yung kuryente, wala pa yung tubig, wala pa yung pamasahe sa pakain. Alam ko na ibabadan yung kids dahil pagka mataas wala ho kaming kikitain.
Meat dealers say government must take a look at the supply chain and identify factors that contribute to high pork prices. In the meantime, the Agriculture Department has released details on its transport support for the shipment of hogs to Metro Manila in a bid to bring down prices.
ViaTimes, vital news, vibrant views for the Filipino Asian communities in Chicago. ViaTimes for your most interesting and exciting reading and your party coverages. ViaTime has very interesting columnists. You name it, ViaTimes has it. Law, Filipino news, dentistry, immigration, humor, serious opinions, health, beauty, mysticism, Bata Corner, showbiz, and intelligently written editorials. Call ViaTimes at 773-866-0811.
Magandang hapon po sa inyo lahat. Welcome to Veronica segment of the show. Today, I have a very exciting guest. He's a very good friend of ours. I've known him for many years. And this guy, I'm telling you, is something else. Allah, help me introduce my special guest, Mr. Jose Joe D. Flores. Joe Flores is a very successful businessman or entrepreneur in our community, and he is a survivor of quadruple bypass, open heart surgery, right?
Yes.
And my God, that was how many years ago?
That was in 2012, I believe.
In 2012, and since then you have retired, and in 2015 you started this book, or you came out with this book. I'm telling you, this is a very beautiful book, a book of photography that Joe really started. I think after his operation, he got himself interested in photography, right, Joe?
Yes.
And, okay. And
after my surgery, I had to undergo 3 years of rehab just to regain my strength and to improve my energy level. And after those years of rehab, I decided to pick up a camera and start taking pictures.
Good for you. I had seen you around with your camera, and as a matter of fact, I've had some pictures you took of me, and those were beautiful pictures. Anyway, okay, maybe you can show your book of photography. It is really beautiful in black and white, and the title of the book is "I Must Leave." Joe, can you see the entire cover of your book for
Okay.
our viewing audience?
This is the front cover, and the title is spread across the front and the back. So this book,
I Must Leave.
This book was designed in the UK by a photo book designer.
Wow, UK? That is
Yes.
really beautiful.
I discovered that gentleman through National Geographic magazine. So the book is rather large. It's like a coffee table book. It's 14 by 17 inches, and it's got 32 pages.
It is really so classy. And,
This was printed by a print shop in Rhode Island, which specializes in high-end photography prints.
in Rhode Island?
Rhode Island.
Wow.
So the printing was a special process that they used in the old days, and they use offset printing instead of digital, which is the most common method now.
Yes.
It's also designed to fall to lay flat. So when you are looking at the pictures, normally books will tend to fold.
Oh.
So here it lays flat. If you put this on the tabletop, it will lay flat like that.
Oh my
It will
God.
not curl and try to close.
Oh.
So the binding was also special. That used to be, the form of binding was used in England a long time ago. So there are only a handful of print shops that will do this binding.
Wow. Really classy and classic book. So, Joe, if any of our viewing audience would like to purchase your book, where can they get it and how much?
Well, they can go to my website, JD Flores Jr. 44 @gmail.com, or the Rangefinder Gallery at 300 West Superior. It's a photo gallery, and they still have my show there. My work still hanging on their walls.
Oh, in the same place where we went for your opening?
Yes.
All right. Very good. And maybe you can describe the title of your book. I've been curious why the title is "I Must Leave." Why? Joe?
Well, I'm the type of individual who's been blessed enough with the discernment to feel the energy of certain places and to feel the presence of spirits of the dead. I've had that I've had that talent or intuition since I was a young kid, and so the people who say that the earth energy in Sedona, Arizona, has the highest earth energy in the United States. Now in Mexico, I felt it in Oaxaca. It's a small town in the state of Oaxaca de Juarez. So when I go certain places or I enter certain houses, sometimes I feel that I'm connected to the place that I've seen it before. So when I start taking pictures, I traveled to attend workshops. And when I was in Oaxaca, I felt the spirits of the ancient people there. Remember that Mexico was a colony of Spain, and the Spaniards came and decimated the indigenous population, the Aztecs and the Mayans. And when I got to that place, I felt the spirit of the ancient people calling to me in pain, in sadness, because they were conquered by the Spaniards and they were killed by the Spaniards. So I started taking pictures of places and people that resonated with me, that I felt attached to. And that's why I fell in love with the place. And the title I Must Live is because I really felt that I belonged there, even though I was born and raised in the Philippines, and I believe in the United States for 55 years or so. When I got there, I just felt at home. And I've never been there before, but I kept going back for every winter. So I Must Live, I chose the title I Must Live because while I felt myself being part of the spiritual life there, in the earth energy there, I felt that I must go back to my home here in the States. And so the book expresses my sorrow about living a sacred place where the spirits of the ancient people were talking to me. And at the same time, it became, in my narrative, my pictures became a spiritual quest for the meaning of life, for self-discovery. So in the end, I discovered, and it's that all of us must live this form of life at some point in time. We must live light because we have to go up with the spirits. That's when we die and we rejoin the spirits. So that is the spiritual quest of self-discovery.
I believe you, Joe. In a way, I could say that you were possessed by an ancient spirit. And I believe in things like that because when we went to Arizona, we were tried to pursue this, what you call vortex energy. And it was so exciting for us, but looking for the vortex energy. But I believe you, and I see that you could really feel it, and you were really possessed, and in a way, it has helped you. I guess it has helped you with your with this new discovery of your talent, isn't it? In photography?
Yes, it's like a second or third life for me because in my business, I deal with the elderly, and we have assisted living and palliative and hospice care. So I've held the hands of many people as they lay dying. Okay, so I could communicate with them, with their spirit of our former residents. And I also feel that we live in two dimensions. We live in the material world, and we also live in the spiritual world. Now it takes discernment and a certain sensitivity to manifest the spiritual elements in our lives. So I'm between two dimensions. I'm in the middle, the material world and the spiritual world. So I call myself a planetary pilgrim because all the spirits are just, exploring the universe and floating around. That's how I feel.
You're so lucky that you could feel that in this physical world that we live in right now, and most people cannot feel that or cannot even experience that and can't even believe that. But I know everything what you're saying, and you were really well. I don't know if the right word is possessed, but you got it, and you're lucky. You're lucky, and it has brought you to a new dimension in life, isn't it? And
Yes.
that's why the opening in this book is called this poignant and compelling book is the story of Joe Flores, a spiritual quest for self-discovery. You discovered yourself, Joe. And I salute you for that, and how I wish we could all experience that. And you're lucky.
It's only a matter of time, and I feel blessed. And I didn't really, when I started photography, I didn't really plan on creating a book. The images found me, and then the book found me, and I was fortunate enough to have a little talent in composition and creating the mood in my photographs. So I'm very thankful for that.
And all your photographs are really beautiful, and that's the reason why there is something to it that people who look at it get attracted to. I think that's the reason. And okay, one last word, Joe, because we're running out of time. One last word about the book or about you for our viewing audience.
It's an artist book, and the people who bought it are also photographers and artists of some sort. And it only has a print run of 200 copies. So it's very limited edition. And every edition is numbered and signed by me.
And reserve a copy for me, Joe.
I sure will.
All right. Very good. Of course. Signed by Joe D. Flores.
Dedicated to Veronica and Joe Mauricio.
All right. Thank you so much for gracing our show today. Maraming salamat.
Thank you for inviting me.
Best regards to Cynthia. Happy Valentine's Day to you and Cynthia tomorrow.
Same to you. You know, we love you. We both love you very
Love
much.
you. Thank you.
Okay.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to Objective Viewers portion of the show. And I'm Joe Mauricio. This afternoon, I have one very special guest, and the newly retired officer from the Oak Park Police Department, Sergeant Bongat. You can see that thing, Sergeant Bongat.
Right.
Well, thank you very much for sharing your Sunday with us. And how is Ron doing, coping with this COVID-19?
It's an adjustment, but I'm doing well. Just trying to stay safe and trying to stay healthy. So I've adjusted. It's a different way of living, but I'm doing okay. I've been lucky.
As a naturalized American citizen, we are Filipino descent. And can you tell me how you feel being patriotic, born in the Philippines, and then raised in America, serving in the police department? How do you raise your patriotism like that?
Well, trying to put things in perspective, coming from the Philippines, and I know what kind of life I probably would have had in the Philippines, and all the advantages of living in America has given me and my family, the benefits of living here. I'm very grateful, for what was, given to me, all the opportunities that were available to me. I mean, schools, jobs, I think this is a great country. It's true what they say. This is the melting pot. It's a pretty diverse country. We have people from all over the world, wanting to come to our country for a better life. And my parents did that. And they provided for us. And we were very fortunate. All of us were afforded the opportunities to go to school, and we all were gainfully employed. My parents were able to provide for us. We lived in good neighborhoods, and it's knowing how the Philippines is, and being back there a couple times now as an adult, I see what kind of hardships other people go through in the Philippines, and we didn't have those hardships here. And I'm very grateful for my parents for risking everything and moving to America, with very little, so it's there's a reason that, America is one of those destinations that most countries want to come to, because we have opportunities here that their countries do not. So I love it here.
Very, very good. I feel the same way. But being a naturalized American citizen, how do you feel about police defunding that you hear from all other states? How do you feel?
Unfortunately, you get who you vote for. You know what I mean? So there are politicians and there are activist groups that have their own agenda. So it's kind of disheartening. For me as a police officer, I'll never have to call the police because I know I can protect myself and my family. You know what I mean? Whether I'm at work or at home, I know my family will be able to take care of ourselves without having to call the police. But what do you say to the people, that are vulnerable, to some of the evils, in our society? Who's going to protect them? The people that are calling for defunding the police, they're not even policing their own neighborhoods. It's us that are policing their neighborhoods. So I don't understand, what they mean about defunding the police. I don't see who that helps or how that changes anything. In the Chicagoland area, the crime rate has skyrocketed, in the last year or so, especially because of COVID. Carjackings are up, astronomical amounts, robberies. Who do they expect to police these areas? Social workers? It's unbelievable. I don't understand the thinking behind, taking money or taking resources away from the very people that are protecting your neighborhoods.
Okay, Ron, you've been the president of the Asian American Law Enforcement Association of Chicago or Illinois. How do you feel about that organization?
Well, I think it's a great organization. Henry Lai is now the president of that organization. He's doing a great job. I love that organization because, there are so few of us, Asian officers, in law enforcement. Most of our parents, at least, first generation immigrants here, they don't want, no Filipino or no, Asian parent wants their child to be a police officer. They want them to be a doctor or, a nurse or some kind of engineer. So it's, we're a rare group, so. And I think it helps out the community because, a lot of us come from countries where, police officers, aren't the most, stellar individuals. There a lot of these crimes that happen to, Asian citizens, go unreported because they're not sure about calling the police. So this way we can provide, a means, a familiar face, so that they can, talk to the police and create a relationship with the police department, through that individual. You know what I mean?
Oh, okay. As a member of the law enforcement and of Asian descent, you are a recipient of so many awards. You know, they appreciate you serving the community and the states and the country. How do you feel about that recognition?
Well, it's kind of a, you have a job to do, what I mean? You try to do the best you can, and it's always nice to get recognized for those, for some of the hard work that you put into, your career or your civic duties, with the Asian American Law Enforcement Association. I did receive a Lifetime Achievement Award from the governor and the Illinois Department of Human Rights a few years ago, for my work with the Asian community and the Asian American Law Enforcement Association. I also am the recipient of the Hall of Fame.
Yes,
being inducted there for that was a great honor. It was a great event. I was pretty honored to be selected for that. It was definitely something to talk about with my friends. My friends thought that was pretty neat. I was just honored. Honored. It was very surprising to even be nominated with the caliber of other candidates that were there that evening. So.
Okay, now Ron, as a retired police officer, what is in your crystal ball? What's your future going to be?
Well, as far as employment goes, I got my real estate license last year, so I'm currently working with Century 21 affiliated in Edison Park there in Chicago. And then, I'll find a couple part-time jobs here and there, just to stay busy. And then, I'm still, considering running for state representative in 2022.
All right.
As a Republican.
Let's talk about that in a couple of months or so.
Yes, definitely.
We'd like to help our fellow Filipinos, of course, in the in politics. So those are good, heavy stuff. I mean, really, if you think that police being a law enforcement officer is, subjected to criticism, I think that one is also going to be. But you're most qualified, and I don't worry about being negative about you running. We want to help you, and my God, it will be an honor for our Filipino community to have a representative in Springfield. That where it is going to be in Springfield?
Yes. Yeah, let's hope. 2022 is my year.
Yes. And any last words from you?
Not really. I appreciate what you guys do, and having this medium, for the Filipino community. I appreciate you getting a hold of me and giving me this opportunity to say hello to everybody in the Filipino community. God bless everybody.
Hey, we will be the launching pad for your candidacy when it comes in a couple of years.
Yeah, I'll definitely let you guys know. Hopefully you guys be one of my biggest platforms.
Yes. Okay, thank you very much for sharing your Sunday with us, Ron, and I wish you all the luck in your retirement and your family. And I hope this COVID pandemic will be gone by the time you run. Okay, this is Joe Mauricio. Thank you again for sharing your Sunday with us, and I hope you and wish you happy Valentine's. Happy Valentine's, Ron. Valentine's.
Thanks. You too, Joe. Take care of yourselves.
Okay. Thank you very much po, and mabuhay ang Pilipinas.
This is Janet Jordy at Global Inspiration, where we need to be seen, need to be heard, and be an inspiration to the world. Ladies and gentlemen, let's all welcome our guest this week, Frances Mabel Acosta Rubilio. So Mabel, I know you are active in community services in the Philippines. And now that you are in the United States of America, you continue to do the same. And you created and you organized a nonprofit organization in New York that is the Hijos de Davao USA, Inc. And can you tell us more about that nonprofit organization?
Well, we call it Hijos de Davao USA Incorporated. And I started to think about it because when I first came to New York, I was looking for a group where I can be a member. But most of the Filipino organizations are those who came from Davao. A Davaoenyo association was in New Jersey. So I thought, why not in New York also, here in Queens? Because there are a lot of workers, Filipino and Davaoenyo workers who live here. And so it is quite sad not to have a group, okay? Because most of us here are alone. We don't have our families. Our families are back home. So I thought of organizing this group of Davaoenyos. And so it is, I would like to tell everyone that it is civic organization, social, intended for the social well-being of Davaoenyos here in New York and all over the states. That's why it's called Hijos de Davao USA, because you can be a member even if you are from Wisconsin or in San Francisco, or you can organize a group there, you know, of Hijos de Davao. It is also like we patterned it from the Hijos de Davao of Davao City, who has its who have its ball every San Pedro fiesta. So we are trying to do that here too.
So is it open to all Filipinos or just residents of Davao City?
Residents of Davao City and those who came to study in Davao, like for example, you come from General Santos City, but you studied in University of the University of Mindanao or in Ateneo de Davao, then you can be a member because you know people from that place.
With your story, I want you to share inspirational thoughts to our viewers regarding life, regarding being an immigrant. Can you do that, Mabel?
So I hope that those women or men who are going abroad don't choose a job. Work in any job you can get because it's there's always a chance for you to reach your dreams and to be able to give a better life for your family and send your children and be educated here or back home in the Philippines.
Yeah, thank you very much, Mabel. And I agree with you. You can be whatever you want to be because you are in America. You don't have to pick the jobs. You don't have to pick your employers. Just do whatever you can. And then in the future, 2 or 3, 5 years from now, you will be somebody else. Thank you very much, Frances Mabel Acosta Rubilio. Again, this is Janet Jordy, Global Inspiration, where you need to be seen, need to be heard, and be an inspiration to the world.
We would like to welcome all of you to Baladna Jewelry. We have a very big selection of 21 karat gold jewelry imported from the Middle East, from Dubai, Saudi, and Bahrain. And we have a very big selection of diamond. We offer free financing for 6 months, and we have a layaway system which you can leave your stuff for 3 months. We repair gold and we buy old gold. Welcome to Baladna Jewelry.
Salamat po.
Good afternoon. This is Brigitte, Carino, Cueter bringing you this week's local news from our community. The number of COVID-19 vaccination locations across Illinois continues to increase. Since February 4th, 2021, 134 new locations have been added to the list of COVID-19 vaccination sites open to the public for a current total of 517 locations. The new sites include 22 local health department, medical center, and hospital locations, 2 new mass vaccination locations supported by the local health department and Illinois National Guard, and 110 additional retail pharmacy stores. The current phase of vaccination, Phase 1B, includes approximately 3.2 million people in Illinois. Vaccinations are available only by appointment at this time, and we encourage people to check back frequently for open appointments. Until the supply is increased, there will be a great demand, and we ask people to be patient. Individuals should be signing up for an appointment to receive their second dose while they are getting their first vaccination. Today is Valentine's Day. Happy Valentine's Day to all. It also means Galentine's and Single Awareness Day are right around the corner. Invisibly showed their real-time research tool to understand people's attitudes towards this February holiday and to learn about their plans. Not surprisingly, 47% of those surveyed said that their Valentine's plans have been impacted by COVID. 40% don't plan to celebrate Valentine's, Galentine's, or Single Awareness Day this year. 13% plan to go out and celebrate despite COVID. 11% opt to stay in and celebrate. 6% will see their dates virtually. 18% will spend the day with friends or family. As to which holiday people are celebrating most, 37% plans to celebrate Valentine's Day. 18% plan to celebrate Single Awareness Day, and only 5% are celebrating Galentine's Day. How accurate is this data? Invisibly real-time research polling differs from traditional polling and online surveys, and have been proven to be extremely accurate at predicting behavior. In fact, Invisibly came the closest in accurately predicting the presidential election results. 538 polls were off by 38 electoral votes. Invisibly was only off by 4 electoral votes. Attorney General Kwame Raoul recognized 2021 Safer Internet Day by offering advice to help parents and guardians make sure children practice safe online habits, particularly as the COVID-19 pandemic has increased the amount of time students spend online. As part of this year's Safer Internet Day theme, Together for a Better Internet, Raoul is urging parents and educators to help children and teens to be more aware of their online activity, who they interact with online, and what information they share about themselves, including photos and videos. The Illinois Internet Crimes Against Children Task Force has seen an increase in youths sharing explicit content online, and Raoul is encouraging adults to talk to children and teens about why they should not send, request, or share sexually explicit images or videos. Families and educators can learn more about safe online habits on Raoul's website. Officials from the Southern Christian Leadership Conference, SCLC, the organization co-founded and first led by Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., announced that the legendary civil rights organization will hold a protest in Chicago, outside Nielsen Holdings' office during Black History Month. The demonstration, which will be held on February 16, 2021, beginning at 10 a.m. at 200 West Jackson Boulevard, is the first of several rallies the SCLC plans to hold outside corporations in the U.S. that have been accused of racism and discriminating against blacks and other employees of color. Now that progress is being made in Washington, our focus has to include corporate America, where there are leaders holding us back when it comes to racial and economic progress, said Dr. Charles Steele Jr., President and CEO of SCLC. We need corporate leaders to follow the example of our newly elected President Joe Biden, who truly understands what it takes to heal our country and make America better. In his first days, President Biden started reversing executive orders by his predecessor that were meant to hamper progress for people of color. No more window dressing. The days of talk and no action are over. This is a new normal. Dangerously low temperatures are forecast, and wind chills will make it feel as cold as negative 25 degrees Fahrenheit during the weekend. The bitter cold creates hazardous conditions for residents and their pets. The county's animal and rabies control reminds residents to take special precautions to keep their pets safe during this extremely cold and dangerous weather. Bring all pets indoors. As the responsible caregiver of a pet, you should provide an indoor heated shelter for your animal. Salt and ice. Both salt and ice can irritate your dog's foot pads. If your dog will tolerate them, foot coverings are advised. Frostbite. Dogs and cats may have fur coats, but they also have exposed areas that are susceptible to frostbite. Limit their time outdoors for waste elimination only. Walks should not exceed 10 minutes in sub-zero temperatures. Keep them leashed. More pets become lost in the winter than any other season because snowfall can disguise recognizable scents that would normally help them find their way home. Make sure their collars have up-to-date contact information and they are microchipped. Be seen. Keep yourself and your dog safe by wearing reflective gear, clothing, leash, collar, etc., and keeping your dog close when walking on the street. Properly secure potentially poisonous material such as antifreeze. Keep antifreeze bottles out of reach of animals and clean up all antifreeze spills immediately. Be prepared. Have an emergency kit with enough food, water, and medication to last your pets at least 5 days. That's all for today. Thank you for watching the news this week. This is Brigitte. See you next time.
Magandang hapon po sa lahat ng mga televiewers of Chicago Philippine Reports TV. This is Melody Dizon, your Health Matters host. So I have missed you guys for a while. I haven't been out doing all these taping, and reason being, I had COVID. So it was very difficult for me. So I couldn't do any kind of work at all. So I'm here to just maybe share experience with you, what I actually went through. So people who has not had COVID or they're going through something, maybe they can learn something from what has happened to me. So anyway, this was back in the first week of January, maybe January, I don't know, 5th or something like that, or 6th or something to that date. My husband started to just having chills. So he was just having chills and he doesn't quite feel right. And I go, okay, so there's no temperature, there's no fever, nothing else, but I just gave him regular fever reducing medication. So then I had to, the next day, he developed muscle aches and he just didn't kind of quite feel right. And so is the rest of the household that was starting to feel a little bit of something. So my husband had himself checked with COVID, and so with my daughter, and both of them tested positive. My daughter has a past medical history of asthma, but she was doing fine. She really just had like muscle aches is all it was, maybe 2 days. And my two boys, they also had the same thing, just that, like, feeling, like really tired, not wanting to do anything. With me, however, I was the last one to get tested. And I kind of already knew I had it if all of my family members had it. So when I had myself checked and was told the next day, not even the next day, later on that night, that I was positive, I didn't need to know the positivity of it because it was more of the symptom of how I'm feeling. So for most of the time, guys, you always be careful about or be watchful of the symptoms, and not necessarily because something proved you were positive or negative, because it may actually signify something. So you don't gaslight your bodily symptoms. So with me, what happened with me, I didn't have any fever, but I started coughing. And I feel like every time I breathe, my lungs hurt. And usually I feel that way if I'm really tired, like really fatigued, like doing 16 hours back to back. Like I couldn't do that. And so, so when I did that, and I go, okay, so I'm having this, cough, but no fever, was watching it. So I took fever reducing medication. I called my doctor. So she could give me some cough medicine so I'd be able to sleep. Now this is 2 days into having everybody being positive. So with me, my cough was just really getting worse, although there's no phlegm to it. And so I checked my pulse oximeter, and my pulse oximeter were ranging between like 93, 94. I said, okay, I think I'm still okay. So I was also doing nebulizer at that point. It wasn't my nebulizer, but it was my daughter's. So I used that, and I figured, okay, let's wait it out and see how it's going to be, because I feel like what's ER gonna do if I have everything in my house? I have my pulse ox, I have my what do you call that? I have medications, and I have nebulizer, and so I'm just really watching it. So anyway, the next day now, my pulse ox, every time I cough, by the way, it would get me so short of breath that I couldn't even catch my breath at all. So my sats were dropping on the 90%. I said, okay, this is not really, really good. I don't feel right. So I called my doc and see if she could write me a script for an x-ray. I just really wanted to make sure what I have. So true enough, I went that day. And my test came back. I have double pneumonia on both lungs, the left and the right. So just imagine that's probably why my saturation were down or below, because I wasn't getting enough perfusion. So still the same that night. I didn't go anywhere because we're still watching. Mostly it hovers around 92 or 91% my oxygenation. I know that's already low. And then the next day, this is on day 4, I was already satting 88% to 89%. And it's like, don't talk to me. I can't even breathe. Or if I'm having this fits of cough, I'm like, don't just, don't do anything. Just stay there. Don't be in my way. It's like, I don't want to talk to anybody. I just want to breathe. So I told my husband, let's go to the emergency room. I think now is the time. So I went to the ER, and they already know that I was positive with COVID. And so they had to admit me because the doc said, well, you don't really look that bad. Your sats are about 92% or 93%, but with COVID, you don't really know. Things turn around so quickly that by the time I send you home, you're going to come right back in with worse signs and symptoms. So he admitted me. I stayed in the hospital for 5 days. 5 days, nobody can visit you. And you don't have the sense of taste, sense of smell, none of that stuff. You can't really breathe right. Everything was achy. And it was just, it was an ugly feeling. So I was given remdesivir, which is the antiviral, and really that medication just gave me life. Like, oof, I think my life percent is like 20% or 30%. Then the next day, another 20%, 30% was given. So I was getting better and better each day. But I do remember that I couldn't go to the bathroom with me having so short of breath. And I would need somebody's assistance because I would feel so dizzy that I may pass out. And also the same way with talking on the phone, it would really take the life out of me. So what is it now? Maybe 6 weeks into this whole thing, 5 weeks into this whole thing, I feel so much better. This week I can really say I'm fine now. I can breathe right, because right after what I had, when I was starting to feel a little bit better, it's not like the next day you're done, you're okay. No, it's like it's a progression. I was still coughing. I was still tired. Oftentimes I'd still get short breath, but it was more of, it was getting better and better each day. So I thought I'd share with you guys. It's not right though that I waited that long, but I figured the whole family had COVID, being the nurse in the family, I just have to kind of look out for them until I couldn't for myself. So when you have saturations above 95%, and that's what you want, above 95%, anything below that, that's a caution. It's a yellow zone, meaning, okay, you really got to be watchful, and, because it can drop anytime soon. So 90 to 95%, you'd probably want to call your doc and say, doc, this is what's happening to me, and blah, 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 and, what do I need? And then the red zone, which is 90 and below, that's an ER call or even a 911 call. So, guys, I'm just glad that I'm back. Love life. I love health. And so I wish you all a very happy Valentine's Day, and wish you well and good health. And I hope this pandemic will be over soon. God bless you all.
Hi, I'm Maria Pappas, Cook County Treasurer. Property taxes are due March 2nd, but there's no late fee through May 3rd. Go to cookcountytreasurer.com, put in your street address to pay online, search for $76 million in double payments and $46 million in missing exemptions. See if your property is on the tax sale delinquency list. Put in your address at cookcountytreasurer.com.
Good afternoon, everyone. We come to the favorite portion of the show, the birthday celebration, and also one special greetings to everyone. Happy Valentine's Day to you all. But first, I want to greet Paul Villanueva Sr. Happy birthday. Mabel Turco Sakay. Hey, Mabel, happy birthday. And our relative, Nanette Danga Miranda. Happy birthday, Nanette. Lilibet Strada, Virgie Fleming, Angelina Turija, and lastly, Christine Lutz. Happy birthday to you all. Bye-bye.